everybody, and welcome to the Uptempo Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Lane, and tonight we have on our co-host, Dalton Garrett. What's up, DG?
So, man, just chilling. Just got done playing a little golf, watching a little baseball, just enjoying my weekend, man.
I heard that, man, and that's part of the reason why we're here tonight. Big weekend in college baseball, absolutely huge weekend, I should say. With everything that went down at Minute Maid Park. And then I know you, the big Florida fan that you are, you guys went to Miami and absolutely showed out. We're going to get you to talk a little bit about that. And then, I want to talk a little bit about Auburn baseball. It wasn't a big series. We had Rhode Island this weekend, and we needed to win 6 games this week. We had 2 in the middle of the week with Alabama State and UAB. And then I just feel like there needed to be a little bit of confidence right there, some growth, cut down on mistakes, mental mistakes. And then we'll talk about the SEC basketball tournament and who we think might make a run there coming up on March, who could win the SEC tournament. And then we'll talk about UFC and the big fight with Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington that happened last night. I know me and you, we watched it together, and I had a terrible reaction to the end. I absolutely hated it, thought it was garbage. And I know you have a different opinion, so, we're going to dive into that. And I can't wait. This is our first little video podcast, and we're trying to take the show to YouTube, and I'm trying to grow it and really hammer college baseball. That's what I really want to do. I think there is an opportunity with the MLB being on strike right now, that this is the opportunity for college baseball to absolutely crush their ratings and just really spread the game throughout the whole entire country, DG. What do you feel on that? And give us your thoughts on the whole weekend of college baseball.
Yeah, man, I think it seemed like it was like a worker, like just perfectly timed weekend for college baseball all week. Beginning of the week, we heard all the negatives about MLB being shut down and being on lockout and how they're going to have to cancel the first few weeks of the season, this and that. And then you look to college baseball this weekend. You had the Shriners Invitational with Texas #1 in the country, LSU #3 in the country, Tennessee's I think number 16 or 17 in the country, but they're definitely a top 10 team. UCLA like 25th, 26th, something like that. You had Baylor, who's not bad, Oklahoma, who's not bad, and then that was all one tournament in Houston that got a bunch of publicity. Yeah. Then just in general, just regular every just normal weekend 3-game series. You have Florida Miami was a ranked matchup. You had Georgia Tech was a ranked matchup. You had Clemson South Carolina. It wasn't ranked, but it's still a big rivalry. Clemson's top 10. South Carolina's usually SEC usually pretty good. You had there's another big one. Oregon State and UC Irvine, which for the people in the West Coast, that's big. We had, there's a few more, man. It just seemed like this weekend just seemed like there's a perfect weekend for college baseball to kind of get their spotlight. I feel like I've seen more highlights on Twitter this week than I've ever seen in college baseball. Dudes pimping home runs, people getting fired up. And that's one thing I did notice this weekend just watching the Florida series and then seeing highlights of other games, man. I saw you tweet this other night to somebody talking about college baseball saying, like, the fire and energy is 1,000 times better in college baseball than it is in the big leagues. The only thing that's different is, obviously the talent level is not quite the same because MLB, you got 25 guys on the roster that are the elite of the elite. College baseball is still really good ball players, but it's not as mistake-free as, you like to see MLB ball. But the fire, man, this is week 3 of baseball season. I mean, these teams have played 10, 12 games. These games, in the grand scheme of things, come tournament time, don't matter that much. But we got dudes pumping their chest, pointing to the dugouts, bat flipping, staring down dugouts as they run around the bases, man. It was a lot of fire you got to see. I mean, I've seen some balls in this May tournament these dudes have been hitting that are like that bomb that Juan Soto hit off Garrett Cole 2 years ago off the tracks. There have been some nukes in this tournament. So I think overall it was – college baseball couldn't have asked for a better weekend for this to happen, pretty much, with what's going on in MLB right now.
Yeah, and DG, you look at Minute Maid the other night with LSU and I think they were playing Oklahoma with the walk-off.
Oh, yeah.
And you could just see the energy. You could see the energy as soon as he hit it. And it's like you see that energy in the pros, but it's like few and far between, man. It's like, it's their job, it's their everyday life. And I mean, it gets amplified up in the playoffs, of course, because, they're playing for bonuses and a ring. But man, college, it's just, like I was watching Florida and Miami today, and you guys threw a lefty, and he got into a little bit of trouble, and he got a big out. And as soon as he stepped off the mound, you could see him. He just pumped his chest and he hollered at y'all's dugout like, "Let's go!" Yeah. And at that time, it was a 4-1 game. So if you mess up and make a mistake right there, leave a ball over the middle of the plate, guy hits it 350 feet, it's a tie ball game. So that's just the emotion that you see in college baseball. And talking a little bit about that Florida and Miami series, you guys today, y'all were squaring the ball up. I know I texted you and was like, man, y'all are putting the bat to the baseball. The barrel was staying in the zone, and y'all were killing it. What was your thoughts on the overall series?
Yeah, man. Going into the weekend, I think as Florida fans, you go in looking every Friday night, Florida's got a good shot at winning the game, no matter who they're playing, just simply because Hunter Barco was our Friday night guy, it's lefty. This is his third year in the rotation as a junior, which is, you rarely see freshmen come in day one as you start rotation. This guy's he was Sunday his freshman year. He was Sunday, Saturday last year, and then this year, obviously, he's our Friday night guy. Coming this weekend, I think he'd given up maybe one run on 25 strikeouts. His ERA was like 0.75. He had a whip below 1. Dude's been dealing. So going into Friday night, that you had that, you had him, and then Miami has a guy named Carson Palmquist. He was 2-0 as well with like a sub 1.5 ERA. So I think he's a lefty as well, so it's a really good pitching matchup. Florida came into the game. They've been swinging the bats. I think over the last, they had like 4 games in a row with 10 plus runs or 10 plus hits or something like that. During the week, we outscored our opponent. It was like 29-6 or something like that in our 2 midweek games. Which the midweek games were Florida A&M and North Florida. But baseball's a game. It don't matter who you're playing. Any time of the week you can lose. You got to still do the little things to win baseball games. But Friday, man, we swung the bat well. They had 8 hits, but just couldn't get time with hits. I know we had in the third inning one of our better hitters, Sterling Thompson's our 3-hole hitter. He's got 5 home runs already. Probably batting. From somewhere between 390 and 410, somewhere in that area. He came up with bases loaded and struck out. Ended up leaving 5 runners on base just by himself that night. Barco looked good, didn't walk but nobody again, had 5 strikeouts, only hit, 7 hits in 5 innings, not terrible, but he had 2 pitches he left up to probably Miami's best hitter named Yo-Yo Morales, their third baseman. One of them he hit to the moon, 2-run bomb, and then he had a double that scored another run. And that ended up obviously being maybe it's 5-2. That guy alone had 3 RBIs. But Florida battled the whole game. They didn't really give up, I guess you'd say. Bullpen came in, shut the door. Bullpen didn't give up any runs. Swung the bat well. Wasn't terrible, but didn't produce when needed. Yeah. I actually had a little conversation with a guy today on Twitter. Was asking he was asking one of the big Florida beat writer guys, Nick Del Torre. He was asking him, did he think was this a positive weekend for Florida after winning games 2 and 3 after losing Friday night? And I was kind of shocked that someone asked that question. I was like, when you won the series, A, but B, you had a team that lost Friday night with their ace, could have tucked their tails, put their heads down, and said, you know what, man, we can't beat them with our best. We ain't worth the damn. And they came out the next 2 days. And we won yesterday 8-1, won 11-3 today. Bats are on fire. Both pitchers. Yesterday, Brandon Sproat, he's a redshirt freshman, throwing 98. Dude, and it's not just a wild, throwing 98. He's spotting 98 on the corners when he needs to.
That's tough.
Yeah, for sure. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hits yesterday, but we had 2 home runs. Judd Fabian, our 2-hole hitter, one of the best players in the country, probably. He's hit He hit 20 bombs last year, got drafted 40th overall by the Red Sox, and they didn't offer him as much money as he wanted, so he came back. He hit a 2-run bomb yesterday. Our first baseman, Kendrick Callaway, hit a 3-run bomb yesterday. So, I mean, so was on Friday when we weren't getting the big hits. Yesterday we got the big hits when we needed them. Scored runs. We had to have them. Sproat went 6 and third, 4 hits, no runs, 2 strikeout or 2 walks, and 8 Ks. And when I'm telling you, every time he struck somebody out, I swear to God, I know one time he literally the guy struck out and he waves him back to the dugout get back over there, get back to your home, that's where you belong. Then we brought in another guy. The bullpen, his name is Nick Figueroa. I can't remember if he's a redshirt freshman or a true freshman. I want to say he's a redshirt. He actually is a walk-on, and which is good as far as pitching staff is. It's crazy they have a walk-on guy and is one of their top bullpen arms, and he comes out 2 and 2/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. I mean, and he had a sidearm funky delivery and throws 92. So I mean, he's nasty. He got a little fire behind him. And then today, man, they came out. I didn't get to catch the first 3 innings. I was still at church, man, but I got the notification on my phone, and I think the game started 11. By 11:06, it was 3-0. I mean, Colby Halter came out, led off the game with a single. I want to say maybe stole second base. Joey Fabian then comes up, busts one to the wall. It's 1-0, just like that. Snapping fingers. Dude threw 7 pitches and he's already down. Colby Halter, I think they said at the end of the game he's batting 412 on the season. He's got a 15-game hitting streak. Going back to the last 2 games of the last season. But everybody hit the ball. 4-hole guy today was 3 for 3. Miami ended up walking our guys today. Let's see, 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11. We had 14 walks today. Before 14 walks. I saw at one point Nick Del Torre tweeted out that Miami had thrown over 200 pitches in just today's game as a team. 200 pitches. So, yeah, it was a rough day for them, but Florida capitalized. I mean, we had 10+ hits. Yeah. You get walks, but then you also got drive runs in, and we drove runs in. We had another home run by Cali Lau, hit one off the palm trees.
Bomb.
Yeah,
absolute bomb.
Had, like you said earlier about the guy, the pitcher. His name's Timmy Manning. I think he's thrown the last 2 Saturdays, and he got kind of, I guess, demoted. I guess you could say. But you're throwing Saturday or Sunday in the SEC for a top 15 program. You're not getting demoted. You just, hey, I trust you. You're still going to throw on my weekend rotation. He went 4 1/3 with 3 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. He didn't get the win because in college baseball you got to go 5 innings to get the full win, and he only went 4 1/3. But we got a redshirt freshman man named Blake Purnell, comes out of the bullpen, throws. He's about 6'6" black dude. He comes out and throws it. He's comes down, crouches, and throws it weird. He's got a lot of arm side run for righties. He don't throw harder than 88 miles an hour, but I think he gave up 2 hits in 3 2/3 inning. I mean, he's just filthy. And then a few minutes ago, I was looking at the stats for the weekend, man. And I noticed I was kind of, you win ball games based off your top 3 hitters most of the time. And Florida's 3 hitters for the weekend had 313 with 6 RBIs combined, 9 walks between the 3 of them, and an 11-run score. Florida scored 21 runs in 3 games, and the top 3 guys were 11 of those 21 runs. So when your top 3 batters are producing like they're supposed to be doing, you're going to be tough to beat any weekend, man.
Yeah, that's a really big series victory for Florida, man, and going down to Coral Gables in Miami's backyard and getting it done. That's what I think was really impressive. And like you said, losing the Friday night game and then bouncing back and getting the Saturday and Sunday deal. Just another SEC dominant program, and it speaks to the conference, man. I look at this SEC baseball conference. I look at it, and it just looks absolutely stacked this year. I know that we've had some setbacks with Tennessee, and I think Texas got Alabama last weekend, and then they got LSU. But, I mean, number 1 team in the country, man. Nothing to hang your hat about. Nothing to hang your head on about that. You're going to lose baseball games earlier in the year, but you look how deep it is, man, and just Ole Miss, LSU, Tennessee, you look at
Arkansas.
Auburn, Arkansas. Auburn's not, they're not at the top, but you look at their team and you're like, man, they've got studs, you know. They're probably not going to come close to winning the conference, but they have dudes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what are y'all 11-2 right now? Something like that?
Yeah, we're 11-2, and we got Sonny DeShera, who's one of the best players in the country.
I mean, that's what's crazy, man. Like, you're 11-2, and you might be the 10th or 11th best team in SEC.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how deep it is. Because, we let a game get away against Yale, but like you mentioned earlier, you know, it's baseball. You know, you're going to lose games like that, especially early in the season. And you look, I know a bunch of people, man, we opened up with Oklahoma out in Arlington, Texas. And a bunch of people, like, after the first game, they were like, man, this Auburn team, like, they can't hit. And because Oklahoma beat us 3-0. But you look at our pitching, and you look at what Oklahoma did out in Houston this weekend, you know, they played teams close.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at them, you're like, hey, if Oklahoma can do that, we were 0-0 with them in the 7th, you know? Yep. So, I mean, it just shows you how deep this conference is. And you go over to the East, I mean, you got Georgia, Florida, you know, I mean, I already mentioned Tennessee, Vanderbilt. And you know, sometimes it's so deep that you get lost with Vanderbilt because you just like thinking all these other ones, and you got the Kings sitting there on top.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't have a big weekend series this week, so everybody just kind of Vanderbilt, we forgot about them.
Yeah, and you know, the only spot that I've really been shocked about SEC baseball this year is what the hell is wrong with Mississippi State? You know, I mean, I guess I see it again today is pitching. It all boils down to pitching, bro, because they're putting up 11 runs a game. All right, they're putting up. I saw the other day, like they were up like 8 against Tulane in the 7th inning. They were up like 10-2 or something like that, and they lost. And I'm like,
crazy.
I know they went to the College World Series and everything, and they lost a bunch of people, but you know, you just think of Mississippi State, and you're like, oh man, they should reload, you know. But it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's like you said. I mean, it's baseball, but it's one of those things. Like their Friday night guy, Landon Sims, was a bullpen guy last year. He wasn't a starting pitcher. Now he's their Friday night guy. So now they don't have that guy. When they get a 4-run lead, they can just say, "Hey, look, go shut it down. Let's finish this thing out." They don't have that. They haven't established that guy yet. Whereas last year, their starting pitching was good, but they knew, hey, give me to the 5th inning, give me to the 6th inning, and Landon Sims going to shut this thing down for the next 3 or 4 innings. You also had, like you said, you had Rowdy Jordan, you had Tanner Allen, you had dudes, you had SEC Player of the Year. I mean, dude was one of the best players in the country. I mean, like,
no doubt,
stud. I mean, and like it's one of those things like you like you said, like it's crazy that they're doing so bad, but it's like, man, they're 6-4. Sure, it's not the start they might have wanted to get off to, but we know where they'll be come May, come June. They'll be ready to rock and roll. They'll be in a regional, probably hosting a regional. Man, hell, they can still compete and win SEC. Like these games this weekend don't matter at all for the SEC. Like we got teams right now. I mean, Vanderbilt's went 1-2 against Oklahoma State 2 weeks ago. Man, that don't matter. Like, yeah,
no, it don't.
Because college baseball is so much different in college basketball. Like we're going to talk about that in a little while. It's like resume games don't matter as much because when you're in SEC, your resume gets built every single weekend. You're playing top 15 teams every single. You know, like you said, man, we were talking about it last night with the Florida and Auburn schedules. Florida literally plays after their first weekend series against Alabama. They play LSU, Arkansas, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, all back to back or something like that. Maybe not Ole Miss. I can't remember who the last one is, but it's like 5. Oh, it's Georgia. Georgia's in there, not Ole Miss.
Yeah, Georgia.
It's 5 of the top 15 teams in the country, 5 straight weekends. Like you play, that's 15 games. Florida would probably be thrilled to leave those 15 games at about 9-6. You go 10-5 in those 15 games, you're rolling. Like,
no doubt,
it's insane.
So, it's like what I try to tell people, man, with college baseball too, is like when it gets tournament time. All right, perfect example. 2019, Auburn went to Omaha. DG, we were 36-28. All right, we were only 8 games above 500. Yeah. And people are like, "Oh man, they went to Omaha like." You know, they just got hot at the right time. No, we didn't get hot at the right time. We were just really good, but we were shadowed up. You know, we had better teams in our conference. because it's so deep.
Yeah.
But we finished sixth in the SEC West and went to the College World Series. I mean, that's just how deep the conference is, man. And
what do you mean?
You know, like
perfect example of like when I know you're talking about a couple years ago. So maybe think 2 years ago, Florida went or 2017. So I guess guys 5 years ago. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah.
Florida wins the SEC championship that year or national championship that year in baseball. Florida started off in the SEC 2-4. They got swept the opening weekend against Auburn and they won the national championship. Like that's how loaded the SEC is year in and year out. Like Florida was 21-9 in the SEC. 21-9. They lost. I mean, that's an incredible record. We go 21-9 in the SEC.
Yeah, that's insane. And that was the year they played LSU in the national championship.
Yeah. So boom, point proven again. The SEC is the best conference in the country for every sport, not just football.
Yeah, that's a fact, and we know it's not close in football and baseball, and it's starting to, in my opinion, not really get close in basketball with the down year that the ACC has had and the Big Ten. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Man, I wanted to talk a little bit about Auburn and the weekend they had, and I should say the week they had. They dropped the game last Sunday, or I should say last Saturday night, because they moved it up for a doubleheader because of bad weather. And they dropped the game to Yale. Bullpen come in. We were up 3-2 in the ninth. Walked the guy, it just snowballed. I always say leadoff walks and 2-out walks in the game of baseball are the most deadliest thing in the entire game. It will absolutely kill you. And like you mentioned earlier, Miami walking 11 people.
Yeah,
walks will absolutely take you out of a baseball game. And so this week they come in and they play Alabama State Tuesday, they play UAB Wednesday, and they had 4 against Rhode Island. Okay, none are great teams, but like you said, you can get caught slipping, napping in the game of baseball. So I put on Twitter at the beginning of the week, Auburn needs to find some consistency. All right. And what I meant by that is out of the bullpen, starting pitching, and the bats need to wake up a little bit. When you play teams like that, you want to see good ABs.
Yep.
All right. Guys work the count. I think Sonny DeShera, watching him, you told me about him before the year, and watching Sonny DeShera taking at bat, it's a masterpiece. Yep. Okay. If you haven't gotten to see Sonny DeShera taking at bat, I'm talking about he uses the entire field. He works the count. He doesn't get cheated. All right. You don't see him check swinging at sliders 2 feet in front of the plate. He just, it's incredible. It's incredible. He hit a ball to the right center gap last weekend, and it was on the outer half of the plate, and just the barrel to the baseball and him driving that ball out to right center. The dude's incredible, man. I mean, he was hitting balls out in Arlington that were just absolute just piss missiles. Yeah. He hit one into left center. If they were playing in the SEC park, it would have been another home run, And, so going into this week, I wanted it to look, them dominate, man. I wanted them to go in and build some confidence because, like you said, with the tough SEC schedules, they come out with Ole Miss, the number 2 team in the country, to kick SEC playoff. And so now it's like, as it gets closer, we're 2 weeks away from conference play. It's time to start rolling. And, Tuesday night, I watched the game. They played Alabama State. Man, it was sloppy. When I tell you they come out, and at one point I was like, man, we're about to lose to Alabama State. Like, it can't happen. Like, it can't happen not to Alabama State. Like, this was supposed to be consistency. We were supposed to find consistency in the pitching staff, hitting at the plate, and they come back. They got the job done. I think they won like 13-7 or something like that. It was a sloppy game, a lot of walks. That's what I didn't want to see. But then they come back Wednesday night. They host UAB, and it looks like a completely different ball team, DG.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's they come out, they dominate UAB. They slapped I think it was 16 runs up, and just absolutely blew UAB out of the water. Then they come into this weekend, and Rhode Island, not going to sit here and act like they're a great baseball program, because we all know that they're a basketball school. And Friday night they put up 11 hits. Case and Howe, always just the bright spot for Auburn. Defensively out there in center field, offensively, him and Bryson Ware had 3 hits apiece. Sonny DeShera with 2 more hits, and I mean it was a 7-2 victory. You saw consistency. One thing I'll throw to you right here is Carson Skipper. Really been a big bright spot out of the bullpen for Auburn, man. And Blake Burkhalter, the 2 guys out of the bullpen, in my opinion, that have been the most consistent for Auburn. They come in, get you scoreless innings. Carson Skipper's gotten out of multiple jams, as well as Blake Burkhalter. And Burkhalter, I mean, he's pumping it, man. I mean, he's throwing 93, 94, and really good stuff. And so, they go to Saturday and they play a doubleheader Saturday because it was a 4-game set. And look, there's not much to talk about, man. 16-0, 12-0. I mean, and today it was 14-1. I think 8 of the 9 guys in the lineup got hits. And the one bright spot to me is, like I mentioned, consistency. When they got in jams, pitchers come in, got out of them. They worked out of them. They didn't leave any runners on. I think against Alabama State the other night, they left 10 or 11 guys on. There wasn't wild pitches, pass balls. That's one thing that killed them against Yale. DJ, I'll throw you in the final game against Yale. They scored 5 runs. They beat Auburn 5-4 in 10 innings, and 4 of Yale's 5 runs scored on walks. Okay, so that right there goes to show that you can't walk people. You can't throw pass balls, man. Wild pitches and things like that. This week, Auburn scored 78 runs, man. They were 78-11. All right, in the 6 games. They put up 49 on Rhode Island. So that's what I really enjoyed seeing. And I think, they play Tennessee Tech Tuesday up in Huntsville.
Hey, that's a big game. Tennessee Tech, only 5 teams still undefeated, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Tennessee Tech is good.
Yeah, it's Tennessee Tech. Yeah, they play Tennessee Tech Tuesday, and then it's Middle Tennessee Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I should say. And so, yeah, I mean, they got a tough little week coming up, and if they get through this and then you start working towards conference play, you're 11-2 right now, and it's a big week ahead to really build your resume and get some confidence with the sticks, and because that's one thing that they think about this Auburn team, man. They think that they can't hit. That's the big question mark. It was the big question mark going into the season is, look, they don't have a lot of guys that can hit. So I'm really excited to see it.
Man, that's great. I'm glad you said Tennessee Tech. Dudes, I just pulled up their schedule, man. They are 10-0, and they have scored 10 or more runs in every game but 2. They've won 10-5, 11-7, 13-4, 13-5, 11-2, 11-8, 13-4, and 15-7. Now, granted, they haven't played the most talented of teams, but they did play Tennessee 2 weeks ago. And it says, I guess maybe rain got the game there. It was 5-5 in the top of the 5th when we got suspended. And we've seen Tennessee play this weekend in the Shriners. They swing the bat. Yeah. And Tennessee, I mean, obviously, it's a midweek game. Obviously, they're not facing Tennessee's best, but they can swing the bat. I mean, they came down here. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I really wish we'd have known about it. They played down in that Stanky Field at South Alabama opening weekend, a little round robin tournament, and they won 5-2, 10-5, and they beat South 11-7 on the last day.
Wow.
Yeah. Man,
that's DG, man. I love talking about college baseball. I can't wait to keep it up and all, especially when you get to SEC play. I mean, that's going to be an absolute blast. And like I said,
in the May Memorial Day weekend, me, you, and D got to go up to Birmingham, catch that tournament.
you know I'm there with y'all, and I love SEC baseball, man. And hopefully Auburn can get in there. I know we talked about their schedule last night. I really hope they can sneak in and make some noise. And you know, we know Florida's going to be there. That's not a question. So man, I really enjoyed talking about SEC baseball, and I'm excited about this year. Once again, I think the SEC is the best conference, and I think they're going to be playing in the national championship. And look, Texas, you know, I know weird things happen when you get to Omaha. But man, Texas, I know they lost today. I know they lost, but their pitching staff, man, you got to think national championship, right? With as close as they come last year, right?
Yeah, the pitching staff is fantastic, but dude, they swing the bat, man. They got dude. I think they had not one home run they got hit. They hit this weekend in Houston. Did they get cheated on? They were long gone. Like balls they hit, dudes didn't have to watch it leave the park. They probably got one of the best players in the country. His name is Ivan Melendez. They call him the Hispanic Titanic or something like that. Dude's just an absolute machine. I can't remember what position he plays. He might play third. Big old dude. There's cold pitches the other night against LSU where it literally looked like he was all out on his front foot, just flicking his wrist, and he's one hopping them off the left center wall. And this dude's just flicking his wrist. I mean, it's like, man, these kids are. This dude's 21 years old, probably 6'5", 6'4", 230, just out there like a machine. And man, their pitching is fantastic. Yes, their 1 and 2 guys are really good, but their lineup, man. They got a dude in the 8 hole's got 4 home runs already. Like their shortstop's name's Ty Fingerton or something like that. He got 4 home runs in the 8 hole. So like they just have an elite lineup. But the Big 12 is loaded. Big 12 is not an easy conference for baseball. They got right now. They got number 1. They got Texas number 1. Oklahoma State's number 4. Trying to think who else they have. TCU's pretty good. Texas Tech's good. They got it's not a cakewalk of a conference, man. But they came in this weekend and they beat 2 of the SEC's best, and neither one of them were particularly close games. I mean, they beat Tennessee, I want to say 6-1, and they beat LSU last night 6-2. So they put the bat on the ball. They do what they got to do to score runs. So.
Yeah, man, that's what I was gonna say. Is I think it's gonna be Texas and an SEC foe opponent, and I think it's gonna be a damn good college baseball season, and I'm excited for it, man. I really am. DG, I know you don't cover a whole lot of college basketball, but it's getting to that time.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, it's the greatest month of the year. March with the bracketology and you know the SEC tournament and all the tournaments, man, not just the SEC. Because I don't want to strangle this podcast on just the SEC. You know, we got all of them, and with all the great basketball, the Big 12 and the Big 10, and just in my opinion, the bracket is the most exciting time in sports, man, because you know you get out there in a neutral site. You got a 16 versus a 1. We saw it happen. You got a 12 versus a 4, 13 versus a 3. You know, I can remember years ago, man, Florida Gulf Coast, they were a 15 seed, and Georgetown was on like one of the most historic runs they've had in a while. And Florida Gulf Coast was out there throwing lobs off the backboard and was up, you know, and they were just flying high. Florida Gulf Coast, baby. You know, I mean, so it's just you get to see stuff like that, and then you know you get to see like I'm not trying to be a homer or anything, but my Auburn Tigers in 2019, man, we got like a 5 seed, and you know we won the SEC tournament, we got hot. And we got a 5 seed, and we had to go through Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky. We beat New Mexico State in the first round. They were a big mid-major. People were saying that we were going to get beat right out the gate. And then we had to play Virginia in the Final Four, man. So just think like Kansas in the round of 32, North Carolina in the Sweet 16, and then you had to play Kentucky in the Elite Eight, and then Virginia in the Final Four. And just seeing stuff like that, seeing your team like go on a run, and just nobody thinks that they can do it, man. And then you see it, and I know you're a big Florida fan. I remember when the Joakim Noah and those teams and Al Horford, and they back to back, and it's a special time of the year, man. And I can't wait till it gets going. And I tell you what, with the SEC tournament, they moved it out of Nashville this year to Tampa. All right. And I like it. I like it being down in Florida. All right. It gives me the palm trees, the sunshine, the great weather. Yeah. That's what I mean. Nashville, when I go to Nashville, I think I'm Morgan Wallen or something like that. I don't want to watch basketball in Nashville. All right. I want to watch it in Tampa, Atlanta, something like that, man. And I like the beach vibes, the Florida Sunshine State. And I know you're a Florida fan, and I know you don't keep up a whole lot with it, but what do you think about Florida? And I know they're on the bubble right now. All right, they got a big win over us a couple weeks ago. You got a stud in Castleton down there. I don't think he touches it enough, DG. I don't think they get the ball to him enough. He's an absolute stud. His game, man, down in that post and the moves that he puts on. Look, he took Walker Kessler to school. All right, he took him to school a couple weeks ago, and he's a force, man. But I tell you, when Florida's deadly is when they're shooting the three ball. All right, and that's how they beat Auburn. They hit like 10 threes against Auburn, man. Appleby was on fire. Do you think they could get hot? I mean, I was looking at it right here. They got Texas A&M in the first game. I think they get by Texas A&M. All right, but then in game 2, you got to play Auburn. All right, you got a rematch. Yeah. Auburn remembers what just happened. All right, they took a lot of heat over it because they didn't even get a final shot off. As time expired, and Auburn fans were hot, man. But I think Florida, man, if you win these 2 games, all right, if you beat Texas A&M, you beat Auburn, you're in the tournament. All right, you're in the tournament. I know they got them on the I think it's the last 4 out or the next 4 out, so they're right there in that 4 to 8 range on the bubble. All right, but if you beat Texas A&M and then you turn around and beat Auburn, all right. And then in the bottom half of that little bracket right there, it's probably going to be LSU and Arkansas. And if you beat Auburn and then beat LSU or Arkansas, you're for sure in. All right. In my opinion, Joe Lunardi's got Kansas as a 1 seed. I don't know how that happened. He's got Auburn as a 2 seed who just went 27-4 and 15-3 in the SEC. And my buddy Joe Lunardi's got Kansas as a 1 seed and Auburn as a 2 seed. So I don't know what this cat's thinking. I really don't. But, man, do you think if they get by Texas A&M and they get by Auburn, are they in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, man, I think so. That's like you said. That's what everybody's saying. That's what a lot of Florida people think. If they win or they beat A&M Tuesday and then beat Auburn, I guess it'd be Wednesday, they'd get in. They just need to. Everybody's saying, 2 wins gets in the tournament. 2 wins gets them in the tournament. And I'll really be honest with you, man. A lot of Florida people are kind of hoping they don't get those 2 wins, and maybe they'll go ahead and move on from Mike White.
Wow,
man, because dude, it's year 7. We've had him for 7 years, man, and like we're still the 9th seed in the SEC. We're still making the tournament as a 8 to 12 seed. Whoop-de-doo, you made the NIT maybe. Like, man, you're Florida. Like, it's crazy. Like, how much the standards have dropped since Billy Donovan left. Like, we've had a few decent years with Mike White. We made that Elite 8 run with Chris Chioza and all them guys. I can't remember if the year we had Will Buchanan and all them was still with Donovan or Mike White. But anyways, I want to say I think it was Billy Donovan, maybe one of his last 2 years. But, like, it's like, man, it's like the pedigree's falling off. It's like they don't care as much about basketball anymore for whatever reasons. Like they're okay with being okay. They haven't. And what's wild is, man, he's had some really good recruiting classes. I mean, he had a couple years ago he signed 2 McDonald's All-Americans, and it's like they come in and they're not that good. Like Scotty Lewis was a projected top 5 pick, and he ended up staying 2 years. And when he did leave, I don't even know if he got drafted. Trey Mann was decent his freshman year, but then last year he came out and showed out. Now he got drafted 23rd by the Thunder last year, and now he's their star point guard. I mean, he's been doing fabulous this year. So, I don't know, man. It's like his roster. The way he builds his roster is so strange. Like right now, we have 1 freshman and like 6 transfers. Like our starting lineup, I think, are all transfer. Like Appleby's a transfer, Myron Jones is a transfer, the Fleming kid's a transfer, Castleton's obviously a transfer, Brandon McKissick's a transfer. Like I think five of our main 8 guys are transfers. Like you can't build a dominant program with transfer portal guys, especially in basketball, because like it's not every day that superstars are on the transfer portal market for basketball. Like the superstars don't go to college anymore; they leave. Y'all got obviously blessed with having Walker Kessler in the transfer portal, but like,
yeah, I mean, DG, like, look, if an Auburn fan gets on here, man, and they're like, oh, you can't build a team through the transfer portal, you're so wrong. Here, look, I agree with you. All right, you're not going to build a consistent winner through the transfer portal every single year. Okay, I agree with you there. My one thing to tell Auburn fans is, all right, Bruce went and got Wendell Green Jr. and Zep Jasper. They were at mid-major schools. Okay, so they took a step up to play SEC ball. Right. He had no idea that it was going to go like this. All right. He was just going and getting 2 guys that he really needed to fill a void. All right. Just so happened that these 2 guys turned out, to do what they do. All right.
Yeah.
Zep Jasper being one of the best defenders in college basketball. We didn't know we were getting that. And Wendell Green Jr., being one of the best playmakers, needs to cut down on his turnovers. But we didn't know that we were getting a guy that could hit logo threes and run the high pick and roll with Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler, man, he played at North Carolina last year. He wasn't, he didn't get a lot of minutes for North Carolina, and they wanted him back towards the basket and just working down in the post. And Bruce said, hey, you can come to Auburn, play free, get out on the 3-point line, shoot threes, do whatever you want, get down on that baseline, and let it fly, whatever, man. Face up to the basket and play your game. And that's what he did. Just so happened he comes out and he's the regular season block leader. And it worked out. It worked out. That's what I'll say. And, I get what you're saying. And Auburn fans who try to argue it, that's what I want to say to them is I'm not going to say we got lucky, but it worked out.
Yeah, transfer portal is a luck thing. I mean, like you get people like, man, hey, I hope they work out, and then if they work out, great. If not, you're not. Like I said, you're not. That's why Florida. That's why it's crazy to me that like they've built their roster almost strictly off of that, because like, yeah, you hope these guys come in and turn out to be what you expect them to be or what you project them to be. But if they don't, okay, well now you don't have any depth behind them. Like Colin Castleton wasn't getting minutes in Michigan. He came to Florida. Obviously, he's a stud. Myron Jones, as like the all-time 3-point leader at Penn State or something like that, or maybe like the single season record holder. And he shoots the 3-ball well, but he's not consistent. And then like Appleby is from a small school. McKissick's from a small school. Like, I don't know, man. The thing with Florida is they're just so inconsistent. They'll beat big, like at the beginning of the season, we started off 6-0, beat Ohio State. Like Florida, like we got to 14th in the country, beat Florida State by like 20 when they were supposed to be really good. And then we come out, we're 6-0, number 14 in the country, and lose like Texas Southern or Texas State. They're like 0-9 at the point. Like, then we'll come out and we'll beat Auburn, and then the next week we lose to Georgia or Texas A&M or somebody that's just not that good. Like, it's been like that. I think that's what's so frustrating for Florida fans, more other Florida fans than me. Like I said, I'm a Florida fan as far as it comes to basketball, but like it's one of those things I don't waste my time watching the games because it can be so frustrating, man. Like
Yeah.
they like I said, they'll come out and they'll be up 15 on. Another night I think we played. I don't know if it was Arkansas or Tennessee or who we were playing, man. But they were up by like 9 with like 4 minutes left and ended up getting beat by 8. Like you can't be up 9 with 4 minutes left in college basketball and then lose the game by 8 minutes, like 8 points. Like
Yeah.
that's just bad decision making. That's just like it's like they get up and it's like they try to chew the clock like they're playing football. Like you can't chew clock in basketball. There's 20, there's whatever, 35-second shot clock. You still need to move the ball. You still need to try to get baskets. And then when you don't get baskets, don't get lazy on defense. And that's what it seems like. And again, when Florida needs baskets, it's like they don't really set up real plays. They get in desperation mode. Like, oh crap, we're down by 2. I'm just gonna throw up a 3. Like, no, man, work to the basket, get a foul. If you don't get it, like give yourself a chance for a rebound, not shooting, a 40-foot shot from the damn logo when you ain't got nobody down low to get the rebound. And it's like it can be so frustrating to watch, man. Honestly, dude, it's more fun honestly following about Florida basketball just through people on Twitter, just see what they got to say about it. It cracks me up every day. But I don't know, man. It'd be cool to see them make a run just because I think no one's really expecting it. But it's funny because, like, I really honestly think a lot of Florida fans would be kind of aggravated. Like, our luck, Florida probably goes through the SEC tournament. They beat A&M, beat Auburn, beat Arkansas. Probably damn near get to the SEC championship, get title, play it regular season or championship game in the tournament, win it or something crazy. Go to the tournament as a 10 or 11 seed. Somehow make it to the second weekend. It's like, well, Mike White extension time. It's like, like,
that's how it goes, though.
Yeah, and that's what sucks. Like at some point, you can't be okay with the Sweet 16 all the time. Perfect example. Look at Florida's football team, man. Like Dan Mullen went to 3 straight freaking New Year's Six bowls. This year, he had one bad season. They said, "Hey, guess what? Get out. We're going to get somebody that we want that wants to recruit this state the way it's supposed to be recruited." So it's like, why is basketball not being treated the same way? Like Florida is an elite school from academics to sports. You don't even have to leave the state 95% of the time to even get elite talent. So it's like, why is it? It'd be different if Florida has never won anything in basketball. They've won national championships 06, 07. They've been to the Final Four. They've been number 1 overall seeds in the past. Like they've had guys get drafted top 5 in the draft. Like it's not some bum school that has never been good at basketball. And so it's like, why is the the bar been lowered so low to where it's like, hey, you know what? You made a tournament. You won the round of 64 game. Hey, we'll see you next year, big dog.
Yeah, man, I agree with you there. Look, I'm not a Florida fan, but I'm gonna give it to you straight up. I think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Because I go back to that repeat and the Billy Donovan years, and Florida was, they were. Look, like you just said, there was no drop off between football and basketball. It was there, right? I mean, they were like, "Hey, we're winning. Hey, so are we." Okay, so I'm with you. Like, why is the standard fail in basketball?
Yep.
For what? For what? Because there's talent all in the state of Florida. I mean, it's a hotbed for talent. Football, baseball, basketball. It doesn't matter. It's a talented state. Period. And they shouldn't be going 9-9 in SEC play. There's just too much at that university for them to be going 9-9 or 10-8. I don't know. I just think it's time for sometimes, man. You gotta fire a guy and just start over. I mean, look at Auburn football last year. You were winning 8 games a year, 9. Sometimes you would get to 10. All right. Most programs in the country are like, hey, we'll take 9 wins. We'll go 9-3. We'll go 10-2 or 10-3. We'll go 8-4. So I know a lot of teams, they'll go like Nebraska this year. I had Brian Christopherson on from 247 with Nebraska, and he said, hey, we just want 8 wins this year. We just want 8. Just give us 8-4. 8-4. All right. And so, like, what I'm getting at, man, is like, we had Gus, and it's just like you said with Dan Mullen, it kind of gets repetitive and stale. And you're just like, man, 8-4, 8-4, 9-3. And I think that's where Florida basketball has gotten, is like they're on that bubble conversation every year now. And it's like, oh, well, here's Florida. They're an 11 seed this year. They're a play-in game. Or, Florida goes to the NIT. Well, they have to win 2 games in the SEC tournament to get into the tournament.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of gotten stale.
Yeah.
And I think that you got a guy up there at Iona, and it's Coach Pitino, and you can't tell me any different that he would not take the Florida job. I mean, he'd take it in a heartbeat, DG.
Yeah.
He would take it in a heartbeat, and I think that Florida needs to make the move. They need to go get him, and they would become an elite powerhouse basketball program again with Rick Pitino running the show. I don't care about his previous off the court stuff. Look, everybody deserves a second chance, and he has went to Iona. He has been straight laced, and he is. Dude, they're winning at Iona. He is winning at Iona. He's probably going to get a damn at-large bid in the tournament. They don't even have to win their conference.
Yeah, right? I saw a thing literally this morning. I was talking about like which teams could be like the sleeper, make a run, like 10+ seeds, yeah. And they were one of the teams. It was like Cinderella teams to watch out for, and Iona was like the third one on the list. Like,
yeah, and he's built like a power, man. Like they go to the tournament all the time now. And if I'm Florida, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. I'm just like, we could have him in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
could have him. Who would not? Who would turn down Gainesville, Florida? All right, you're at Iona. All right, it's up in New York or whatever. So you're gonna stay in New York where it snows all the time and it's cold as shit. 24/7. I don't want to be up there. And you're telling me that you get to come down to Gainesville. You're 5 hours from Miami, South Beach. You got Tampa right there, Orlando right there, Disney World where you can take the grandkids. Hey, sweetheart, we ain't got to play basketball this weekend. Let's take the grandkids to Orlando. Take them to Disney. All right, palm trees, beach, water, love it. Sounds like a great call. Rick Pitino, get your ass to Florida. Heard it here on the Uptempo Pod first. And that's what I think Florida needs to do, DG. Yeah. Just throwing that out there because Florida needs to get back on track in basketball, man. Because, hey, it's not getting any easier. Nope. Right? You got Auburn, new powerhouse. And I don't know if you saw on Facebook, man, I put on there 2018 share of the regular season SEC championship. 2019, they won the SEC tournament. 2020, they finished second in the SEC, had a top 5 draft pick with Isaac Okoro, and we didn't get to have an SEC tournament. They were getting hot towards the end of the season. Never know. Might have won the SEC tournament that year. By the way, 2019, they went to the Final Four and almost had a lottery pick. He was pick number 15, I believe, with Chuma Okeke, tore his ACL in the Sweet 16 against North Carolina. If he doesn't tear his ACL in that Sweet 16 game, DG, Auburn might win the national championship that year. I'm not going to say they would have, but they might have. And then, you got Arkansas. I look down here at Arkansas. Eric Musselman, what he's building there with J.D. Note and Jalen Williams, they could make a run. You got Tennessee, Rick Barnes. Hey, here's what's crazy about Tennessee, man. All right, I look at their fan base, okay? They come out at the beginning of SEC play. They were sluggish. People are like, what's wrong with Tennessee? They can't score the basketball. Offense is just stalling out, man. And they were on Twitter, DG, and they're like, hey, fire Rick Barnes.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here and I'm like, fire Rick Barnes? What are you talking about? And this one guy, he retweeted me and was like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. because this dude can't coach basketball. And I was like, first off, who you going to get? All right. Because, I mean, I don't see anybody coming there. All right. You're not getting Bruce Pearl back. All right. And I don't see a Rick Pitino going to Tennessee.
And Rick Pitino's on the way to Gainesville. So
yeah. So I don't know who you'd get. And then 3 weeks later, they're like, oh, Rick Barnes is the savior. We love Rick Barnes. You were just saying firing 3 weeks ago. What are you talking about? But now they're rolling. They can make a run. And then you got Kentucky with Oscar Tshiebwe down low. He's probably going to win National Player of the Year, SEC Player of the Year. Even though I think Jabari Smith Jr. is the best player in basketball, probably the number one pick in the NBA draft. Man, the SEC is just so deep. Alabama, the most wishy-washiest team in the SEC. They could come out and beat Baylor, Gonzaga, like they have this year, and then come out and lose to Sims Middle School. BG, I'm dead serious, man. They are the most wishy-washy team in the whole field. That's why I keep telling people on the podcast, I'm like, look, they could make a run, but I honestly I can't trust them because they turn the ball over like 25 times a game, man. Like, I think against Arkansas, they had like 24 turnovers. The other night, they were playing LSU on the road. I mean, they were just handing the ball to LSU. They were playing Kentucky a few weeks ago, come out and they were on fire. And then, I mean, in the second half, it was like a popcorn maker. I mean, they couldn't put it in there. And they're just a strange team to me. It's just strange. Yeah. LSU, man, they're so inconsistent, just like Alabama. It's just really hard to trust, man. I mean, I think the power is where where it is Friday. I think those are the four teams in the SEC that could go really deep.
Yeah.
Look, in my opinion, I saw Calipari make a tweet saying, "Look, if you go 9-9 in the SEC, you should be in the bracket." And they're saying only 6 teams in the SEC are getting in. But I mean, if it's me, man, I'm putting 8-9 teams from the SEC in the bracket just because the conference is so good now in basketball, man, and the coaching and the elite recruiting that they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. But man, I hope Auburn can win the SEC tournament. I don't know who to pick, DG. I really don't.
Well, I got a question. I got a question for you. So,
what you got?
How many games does Auburn need to win in the tournament to secure a number 1 seed in the big tournament, or do they even win at all?
No, they gotta win. They gotta win, man.
So who are the projected 1 seed right now in the big tournament? Gonzaga, Arizona.
It's Gonzaga, Arizona, Baylor, and somehow, man, they have Kansas as a 1 seed.
I don't see how you can give 2. I don't know, man. To me, like Kansas, Baylor probably gonna play for the Big 12 championship. The winner of that should get the 1 seed, and then the other one obviously don't get the 1 seed.
And see, like, my thing with it, DG, is like when we're looking at these 1 seeds, man. Okay, so like Gonzaga, all right. Alabama went to Gonzaga, all right, in Seattle. All right, I'm not gonna say to Gonzaga. I apologize to if a Gonzaga fan watches this. I'm sorry, because they went to Seattle, neutral floor, and Alabama spanked them. All right, beat them by like 9 or 10, and it really wasn't as close as what the final score made it look like. So Auburn, they beat Alabama on the road and then come back to Auburn Arena and beat them by 19.
Alabama also beat Baylor.
Yeah, Alabama beat Baylor. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, you got like Auburn beat Kentucky, a team that you have on the 2 line. Like you have Kentucky as a 2 seed. Auburn beat Kentucky. And then you've got Auburn beat Alabama twice. And Alabama beat Gonzaga, Baylor. Oh, yeah, Kentucky went out to the Fog at Kansas and beat Kansas by like 18. Yeah. So I just think there's like man, I think the media kind of looks at the SEC now and they're like, oh no, here we go again. They're starting to take over basketball now. We can't let it happen. Like, we can't let this happen. And so they're starting to like get a little nervous because it was always either Kentucky or Florida. Tennessee would make a run every now and then. But now they're 6, 7 teams deep, 8 teams deep. And they're like, man, they're the best basketball team. They're the best basketball conference in America. Like, we can't let this happen again. So I think there's a little bias there. I think there's a little Big 12 bias. And I don't think they really want the SEC on that 1 line. I kind of think they want to put the SEC on that 2 line and make it well, I'm not going to say make it tougher because the NCAA is tough regardless. But I just don't think they want the SEC on that 1 line, man. But I think Auburn's got to make the tournament final. And I would like to see them play Kentucky in that game. And the reason why I would like to see them play Kentucky is because Kentucky fans said that if Ty Washington was healthy and Severe Wheeler was healthy when we played them the first time, they would have beat us, okay? Well, Severe Wheeler played 36 minutes the first time we played, okay? And then he went out because he got hit with a screen by Walker Kessler, and, he laid on the ground, and I thought he played for the Lakers for a minute the way he was flopping. So, we'll get to Colby Covington and how he don't like LeBron James in a minute, all right? We will get to that. But Ty sprained his ankle early, and they both went out, and Auburn beat them by like 9 or 10 or something like that. So that's who I'd like to play. And hey, if you don't want to give us a 1 seed, we went 27-4, 15-3 in the SEC. How do you not get a 1 seed, DG? I mean, I don't know, man. But I think the SEC is the best basketball conference in the country, and I've enjoyed talking about it. I know you don't cover it a lot, but you brought your Florida knowledge, and I absolutely love it. I watch it nonstop. And one big thing I want to bring up on this little podcast is this show. We have accepted a deal with Rave On Sports, and it is a brand new app. And you get to interact with a live host while your team's playing. And we will be hosting games hopefully during March Madness. I know, DG, you're the head coach of a baseball team right now, so you're a little busy. But me and D-Lane and DG, we're going to be big at it in football season for SEC football. It's going to be absolutely electric. We're not doing just Auburn and Florida. All right, we're going to hop over to Alabama games, A&M games. They want us to do it all. So, and I told them, hey, I'm down. I'm down to get on and share my knowledge and interact with fans. And, hey, I was on the app. It's called the Rave On Sports app. It is available on Android and Apple. And it's super easy to download, super easy to sign up. And when you get on there, you get to pick your favorite teams, just like you do on the ESPN app. And you get to interact with other fans. You can comment on certain plays. You can like certain plays. I know Alan Flanagan led the basketball game off the other day to win the SEC regular season title. He had a 3 out the gate, and I immediately liked it. Hey, I like that. Let's start a thread on it. So I get on there, comment. Hey, Alan Flanagan, big 3. If he gets hot, Auburn could win the whole tournament, okay? And fans start following. They start trickling in. Okay, well, let's start talking Auburn basketball, and so on and so forth. Man, you get to comment on officiating. Like, if an official makes a bad call, you get to start a thread on it. Do you like the call? Do you not like the call? And the live chat is what interests me the most. I absolutely enjoyed the live chat. It is the Duke and North Carolina game the other night. They had 2 live chat guys, one from North Carolina, one from Duke. They were going head to head. It's just really cool, man, and I'm glad we've been offered this. And what are your thoughts on it, DG?
Yeah, man. I think it's a good opportunity to kind of keep building this up, man. I think we're trying to obviously see how far we can take this little podcast thing, and
Yeah,
considering we've been doing this for what 4 months now, 5 months, like right since in the basketball season. Some of the guests you've already had on, man, are massive. I know me and D Lane have only been on probably 5, 6, 7 times maybe total, but like, man, the work you put in, like the fact that you've been able to get the guests you've gotten, the fact you've gotten these people to go in and review a few of our episodes, and they listen. Obviously they listened to a couple that had me and D Lane on them, to where they wanted us to do our part with Florida, and then D Lane helped with Auburn basketball and football, man. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I mean, because it's I think it's going to be like a mixture of like what you could get like in the spaces on Twitter, and then like also just like comments on Twitter, but all at one time. It's like spaces. Like now you got spaces where it's like everyone can join and chit chat and ramble on by their own thing, but you can also scroll through Twitter and see people's ideas or their perception or their ideas or their thoughts of whatever happened in the game. Where now you're gonna have an app that's tracking the score, tracking play by plays, calls by referees, sub in, sub outs, stuff like that, injuries, and like you can watch it on TV instead of having to text your group chat with your buddies. You can just throw it on the app. Hey man, and you see that play, or hey Johnny 4.0 Gator for Boys 779 or something. You make some little comment, and then like you said, you just get a whole chain going. You get people just constantly adding their thoughts, and and then giving their thoughts on the play. And because I'm a big fan of like watching the play and seeing how it works out, and then like, oh man, that play looks like something that might set up something later in the game, and you can kind of throw that in there, and ideally we get some guys and girls in the chat that maybe coach football or have more knowledge on the game than maybe just an everyday fan does, and one fan might say, oh, that was like they're playing a cover 3 defense, and then some coach or somebody might be in the chat and be able to explain it a little bit better to people who don't know what that means. Just be able to dive into the game a little bit deeper with people you don't know. Because I know, me and you love going to college football games, and I tell people all the time, like, I'm not a big fan of concerts because I don't like the crowd. And they're like, well, why do you like going to football games? I said, man, because when you go to a football game, it's you and your 90,000 friends. Like,
yeah.
You'll be your team will score. I know, like I went to the Florida Alabama game this past year, man, and we score touchdowns to keep that game close. I'm high fiving and dapping people up. They're 6, 7 rows behind me, in front of me. Never gonna see them ever again in my life, man. It's like, and now you can kind of get that feel in his app. Like you can someone else's comment. Hey, bro, I agree with you, man. That's hype. Let's go,
Right.
like that kind of stuff. So I think it'll be cool. I think it's gonna be really cool, man. I'm looking forward to being able to do it in football season for sure.
Yeah, man. It's crazy how we just started this, and if you're tuning into this and you're not familiar with this show or this podcast, as we call it, the Up Tempo podcast. Look, we started this, and I was sitting around one day, and I was like, it's not football season. We love talking football, 365 days in the Southeastern Conference, but right now, before spring ball, I was sitting here clock ticking, thinking of an idea to spice the show up. How about I branch out to the West Coast, up north, over along the Atlantic coast in the ACC, and I bring other programs on that people in the SEC might not follow every day like they do on the SEC network. So I reach out to Oregon, and Joel Gunderson comes on. I reach out to USC, Chris Trevino, out there with 247. Joel at Oregon was with scoopduck.com, writer there. Really, really good stuff on Oregon. And then I got the former long snapper, Tyler Kluver from Iowa. He runs the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast for Iowa. And if you want a show on YouTube to watch, they talk about Iowa football and Big Ten stuff, and it is absolutely terrific, the job that they do. 3 dudes who walked on and ended up playing significant roles in Iowa football, and they say it happens a lot up there in Iowa. Like, dudes walk on all the time and then end up battling their ass off and getting a starting position up there. So hearing Tyler talk about the Iowa football program, that was crazy, bro. and he told me, his biggest thing was he scored a touchdown against Ohio State. All right. He was a long snapper. They ran a little fake and everything. And he said he caught the touchdown pass, and he said that was like the highlight. One of his two highlights in his Iowa career was beating Ohio State that night. I've had Parker Thune on from Oklahoma. Ashton Pollard from Notre Dame. Hey, you want to listen to a big time episode in Notre Dame football? Man, Ashton Pollard absolutely knocked it out of the park. Brian Christopherson from Nebraska, Christopher Stock from Miami, just all over, man. Will Vandervoort from Clemson. DG, me and him sat on the phone for like an hour and a half the other day, and we recorded an episode, and he went all in on Clemson, man. Just really good stuff. And I've had an absolute blast doing this. And then Rage Sports, I think it was last Sunday or no, last Wednesday or something like that. I was in bed, and last Thursday or something, I was in bed, and next thing I know, they tweet at me, and I message them. They message me right back, and they're like, "Hey, we want y'all to do this thing with us. We'll talk tomorrow and see how y'all feel about it." And we accepted the offer. And, I think it's an opportunity, and they're great people out of Lexington, Kentucky. And, it's really good stuff, man, how we've branched out over these past couple months and really busted our tail to do this. And I'll be honest, in college football season, we're going to have a roundtable discussion. We're going to get Tony Budd on here. We're going to get D Lane. I know that episode really popped off where we made all those crazy predictions, and the people really like that college football content. And we're going to get on here. We're going to do a roundtable discussion, and we're going to make picks. We're going to give our best bets for the week because I know we like throwing a little money on the line every now and then. And we're going to give those, and we're going to make bold predictions, and like we always have, and it's going to be really, really fun. So I'm excited, man. But before we hop off here, all right, we watched UFC last night, Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. All right, I was upset about the ending. All right, what were your thoughts on it? And I will respond because I'm coming hard at this one.
Yeah, man. Trust me. We all watch UFC to see the knockouts. That's what's fun. We all talked about it last night. Like, we enjoy it when two dudes go in there and just bust each other's faces in. But man, I know y'all are upset that Colby Covington and Masvidal are talking all this smack all week, how they're gonna bounce each other's heads off the canvas and do all this and that. But we watched the fight, and Colby Covington dominated from the start of the first round to the end of the fifth round. He had that one time he got rocked, but he had worked Jorge Masvidal. He had worked Jorge Masvidal so hard that Masvidal couldn't even capitalize on the one good shot he got because he was so tired. So it's like, and I know you guys are like, oh, but man, we don't want to see this. We don't want to see them hugging each other and him grabbing him to the ground. It's like, man, Colby Covington's 17-3 now. Like, the dude's one of the greatest grapple UFC fighters of all time. Like, he still got a shot at taking that fight for the championship. Jorge Masvidal is only famous because he knocked out Ben Askren in 7 seconds. Like, he hasn't done anything.
He's real deal trash.
Yeah, seriously. Like, he literally ran up, kneed the dude in the face in 6 seconds, knocked him out, and he got famous. Like, and then he won the Banff belt that one time or whatever they want to call that stupid thing they made up. But like, who's he beating that's been work? Ben Askren just got knocked smooth out by Jake Paul. Like, you ain't fighting real dude. Like,
that Jake Paul is special.
Hey, that's a fact, Jack. But man, like, I don't know, man. Like, sure, I wanted to see Colby Covington knock, or either one. I didn't care who won, but like, I wanted to see. Yes, sure, of course, I would love to see one of them knock the other one out, and then just one of them just laying flat cold on the ground. But like, they were sticking each other, man. Like, like we said, like, I know y'all were aggravated with the fifth round and how they didn't just stand up and throw hands. But it's like, if you're good at one thing, why are you not going to take advantage of the other person who's not as good at that? Like, I know I used the analogy last night with football. Like, if you got a football team that's really good at running the ball, or a defense that can't stop the run, why the heck would you not run the ball? Like, if you're fighting a guy who's not good at wrestling and can't defend the takedowns well, why would you try to stand up and throw punches with him all night? So that was my thing with it. I mean, I enjoyed the fight. I thought it was a good, well fought fight for Colby Covington. I think he did what he had to do. He knocked him around enough. He controlled the fight. He controlled the ground game. I mean, he did what he had to do to get the win. Like, sure, he didn't knock him out in some highlight reel special that everybody was expecting to happen, but he won the fight, and he's still the number one contender in his weight class. So he did his job.
Yeah, man. Look, rounds 1 through 4, I didn't have a problem with. All right. Where I had the problem was when Masvidal, they were throwing hands. I absolutely loved it. You saw me. I was up out of the chair. I said, there he goes. All right. I was getting into it. I said, come on. Somebody knock somebody out. And then Masvidal with the right pops him. All right. Colby Covington hit the Tebow. All right. It shook cobwebs. All right. Like you said, Masvidal couldn't capitalize on it. But you raised your pay-per-view prices, all right, to $75 a fight, okay? I don't want to see in the 5th round 2 dudes lay missionary, all right, on a canvas. If I wanted to watch that, I'd go pull up Pornhub and watch Johnny Sins, all right? I don't want to watch it, okay? I don't. $75 a fight, right? And you apparently hate each other, and you want to lay on the ground in the last 5 minutes. Where Thursday you were saying that you were gonna make somebody leave on a stretcher, you were gonna bounce his head off the canvas. You used to sleep on his ex-wife's couch, and he was cheating on her all the time, and all this stuff, and all the shit talk. And you want to lay on the ground for 5 minutes and look like a bad review on Pornhub. And that's how I feel about it, man. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. Like, I mean, the first 4 rounds, I enjoyed them. That they had their moments. And because I told y'all last night what was going to happen. As soon as Colby feared any little slight chance of him losing, he was going to take George to the ground. All right. And what'd he do? All right. Come out that 5th round. He said, I ain't getting caught. All right. I ain't getting caught and getting slept like I just did in the 4th round. All right. I'm taking you down, and we're going to sit here and play with each other for 5 minutes. Yeah. And I'm disappointed because you raised your pay-per-views to $75 a fight. All right. You're almost a Floyd Money Mayweather. All right. And you give me dry humping in the biggest round of the night. All right. You give me dry humping, and I'm not for it. All right. I wanted to see somebody's head get bounced off the canvas. And hey, I don't remember old dude's name, but with the eye, he couldn't even see out the eye. All right. Warrior. Warrior. All right. Absolute warrior. I want him behind me in a dark alley. All right. Because he's a freaking warrior. All right. Yeah. I love the card. I had a blast watching it, and I was just super upset with that last round, man.
All right, real quick question for you. Do you think they should make it like in the contract for the main events fights, whether it's for a championship or if it's for like something like last night, it's just like a grudge match. If it makes it to the 5th round, so they both had to sign a contract to where, hey, look, 5th round, we just stand up and throw hands. We can't grapple, we can't do nothing but just stand here and box each other for 5 straight minutes.
You know, I was talking to Tanner today. I was texting Tanner, and I said, you know, the UFC would be way more entertaining if, like last night, all right? I think it was like the 2nd round where Colby was just laying on top of George, all right? He was just laying on top of him. And Jorge's sitting there, and he's like, hey, Hurd, like, get him up. Like, we're not doing anything. All right. I think officiating needs to be tweaked. They let stuff go on for far too long where there's nothing happening. Like, I mean, you stay in full mount, and you're not even working to do anything. And they just stay there and lay on each other. Excuse me. And they let it go on for like a whole minute, and by that time, they get up and there's 38 seconds left in the round, and so I mean, you got to fine tune it, man, and then like some of these things where like taking somebody down to the ground and they're like, oh well, he took him down to the ground, so he wins the round, like what? I mean, some of the stuff like octagon control, like that. I mean, that is like they base points off of that. Like who controlled the octagon? Like I kind of like what you said in the 5th round in a championship fight or a contender fight like it was last night. Colby, you get to that 5th round, man. Stand up and throw. That is what we want to see in the UFC. And I told Tanner today, it would be far more entertaining if they stood up and they threw toe to toe instead of going down to the ground. Bro, I hate it. I can't stand when they go down to the ground, and I hate submissions. It's just not fun to me. It takes all the air out of the sport. Like that Oliveira and the black guy that fought last night, that was a hell of a fight. All right, now when they went to the ground, they were working. Oliveira was moving. He was trying to get the rear naked in and all that. I mean, they were doing stuff on the ground. Colby, how many knees can you throw to the dude's thigh, man, up against the cage? I mean, like, come on, like, let's fight, man. You talk all this shit Monday through Friday, and then you get in there Saturday and you do exactly what everybody thought you were going to do. Take Jorge down because you knew he couldn't wrestle down on the ground. And you did just enough, you did just enough where, hey, I got caught, so now I'm not going to take that chance again. And that's just the only thing that disappointed me, man, is I mean, like Adesanya a couple weeks ago, like it's just like it gets kind of boring, bro, because these dudes should we schedule better fights? Because like Adesanya, I mean, it just looked like he was in there sparring, bro, because like he was like, hey, I'm 10 times better than you. You're not on my level. I'm just gonna come in here and slap you a couple times, and then I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna go take me 2 ibuprofen and I'll be good to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't. I just think it's kind of losing some of its gas, but I think that Jake Paul is sucking all of that gas up because he is the money maker. All right. Jorge Masvidal, Jake Paul, make it happen. Jake Paul knocks him out. Ball game. All right. That's what I want to see. Jake Paul.
That's what the people want to see.
Yeah, Jake Paul is this nation's backbone, all right? He is this country's backbone, all right? I don't know, man. UFC is just kind of in a tough spot for me right now because we're paying $75 a fight, all right? A ticket, all right? A card. Paying $75 a card. And we're getting just – I mean, it was just – I mean, the first 4 rounds were all right, but that 5th round was just – cheese last night. I hated it, but I don't know, man. I've enjoyed it tonight. I really like what we talked about, and I had a hell of a time, and I can't wait to do it again, man.
Yeah, bro, for sure. I'm glad we were able to do this little thing. Hopefully everybody likes it. One more thing real quick before we end it. I think Blake's going to head this up, but we're going to do a March Madness bracket like tournament thing on ESPN's app. You can go in there. It's called Bracket Challenge. We're going to make a little up-tempo podcast group, join the group, and then we'll obviously track it and see whoever wins it. I'm sure we can make a way to put a link on our Facebook page and a Twitter page and get people to like it and join it. And, hopefully we can get, obviously 10 people is cool. It'd be great to have 10 people. That's more than just us, me, Dalton, and Blake, but it'd be super dope if we got 50 to 100 people, man. That'd be really cool to, I think that's an easy, cool way to kind of grow the brand and get it out there even more. So y'all be looking for that. I think Blake's gonna try to head that up this week. Obviously we can't start it until the bracket will come out till next Sunday, but he could probably go ahead and set up the group, and if you want to go ahead and join it and make your just the apps. I mean, literally the apps on in the Apple Store is called Tournament Challenge or Bracket Challenge, something like that.
Yeah.
You literally download it for 3 weeks. As soon as the tournament's over, delete it for the year and get it again next year. So y'all be looking for that for this upcoming week sometime.
Yeah, DG, one more thing, man. I got Josh Furlong coming on tomorrow. We're gonna get it up at I think it's at 4 Central. Yeah, here it is. We're gonna do tomorrow, 4 Central. The University of Utah. Josh Furlong covers the Utes. Been doing it for a long time. Gonna have him on. Going to talk about the Rose Bowl. He went to the Rose Bowl to watch them play Ohio State. I wanted to hear all about that electric atmosphere, and I mean, another big guess, man. Crazy. Hey, they're in the way too early top 25. They're coming in at number 8. They come to Gainesville. All right, you're going, DG. You're gonna be there, baby. It's gonna be awesome with a capital A. All right, Dickie V, battling cancer right now. One of my lifelong heroes in college basketball. Absolutely love it. DG, I'm excited, man. Everybody go download the Rave on Sports app. Throwing that back out there at you. And I've had a hell of a time tonight, man.
Yeah, bro, for sure, man. We'll have to do it again soon.
All right, brother. Good talking to you. And everybody go follow the Up Tempo podcast, man. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Absolutely.